Hello, and welcome back to another episode of me dying in Faction Warfare. As is tradition, this first clip is of me doing just that, dying in Faction Warfare. Oddly enough, it's to a Nelly Secunda guy who I thought had disbanded, but apparently there's still some active dudes that are lingering around in low sec. Good on them, I guess. Initially, I'd warped to this Plex thinking that the Mauler was fighting the Deimos. Turns out the Deimos is just the the Mauler is just the alt of the Deimos, and he's just there to put webs and newts and scrams and stuff on whatever comes into the complex, and then the Deimos makes quick work of whatever the Mauler's pinned down. So it doesn't take long for me to go down. The newts are a really good hard counter to an active repping ship. Even with the cap booster, it still puts a ton of pressure on you, and yeah, it doesn't work out well. Another thing that I just learned today, due to the wonderful advice of a corp mate of mine, is turn your auto reload off on your ancillary armor reps. That way, even if you do cap out, it's not going to start that 60-second cycle, and it allows you to it's less efficient, but it still allows you to run the rep when you can get some cap back. So if you're using a cap injector and you don't cycle out your time, like the timing of your cycles doesn't match, and you cap out, instead of it automatically going into a 60-second reload, you can just turn it on to run inefficiently, but still give you a little bit of armor hit points, and not get stuck in that long reload. This next fight is against a stabber, and I end up kind of blobbing him. It wasn't intentional, but the guys that were in the Plex were wondering if the stabber was with me, and I said no, I'm actually trying to catch him. And I find him actually on the entrance of the Plex, and I warp in and get a tackle on him. It turns out that he uses ECM drones, and of course, with my luck, they get a good cycle on me right away. He sticks around because he probably thinks that he's going to be able to kill me because I stay jammed, and that's his downfall, because they miss a cycle, they miss the next cycle here, and then I am able to get tackle back on him. And by the time I get tackled back on him, some other friendly neighborhood frigates show up to help me get additional points on the guy. So even if I do get jammed, we're still going to secure the kill. And really, to be fair, I should have just killed the drone, killed his drones. I should have, better late than never. I should have started with that, from the get-go. Even just taking 2 or 3 of those drones out, it's not like I can't tank the damage from a stabber. So if I would have just taken 2 or 3 of those drones out, then it would have, reduced the chance or the likelihood that he would have jammed me again. And again, just such horrible luck that a flight of light drones could jam me this much in a fight. It's just, ugh. I hate ECM, but I understand it's a game mechanic. Whatever, you just got to kind of deal with it. It's fine. He goes down due to the help of my militia mates. A very big thank you to them. And we move on to the next fight, which I don't even remember what it was. Oh, it's a Kiriko. As ships go, as solo ships go, because that's really the only context that I'm playing in. I'm not in fleets with anyone or anything like that. As solo cruisers go, at least, I don't feel that in the cruiser versus cruiser setting, a Kiriko really shines. With rapid lights, you can very easily peel off tackle, kill small ships. The caveat to that being is that the small ships still can run away from you, though, because you're probably going to have a warp disruptor fit, and you're probably going to be, running away, so that way you don't get tackled. But when it comes to like a Kiriko versus a Vexor, I don't know that that's a good match. Especially because of the long reload times. That's going to allow, once he shot his clip into my armor, which I just rep back up, as you'll see. He's stuck for 30 seconds or whatever, just sitting there watching his ammo reload. He's got a set of light drones, which aren't going to, that's what, maybe 100, 150 DPS at most, and it's just not going to do much to get through the tank of my my Vexer, especially with, you know, a pill and dual reps, so not really a good setup for him. Now, the one thing that he could have done better was dictate range a little bit. The only way that I can catch up to him is if I'm overheating. Our hull speeds are just about the same. I think he goes, you know, 1700 meters per second, and I go just over 1600 meters per second. So unless I have my MWD overheated, there's no way that I'm going to catch him. And I can only overheat my MWDs a few cycles. Because it's not a Tech 2 MWD, because I don't have, you know, a really high level of thermodynamics, I probably only can overload for maybe 3 or 4 cycles. So as long as he can kite me for those 3 or 4 cycles without getting a web or a scram on him, then there's no way that I'm going to catch up to him and be able to scram him, so he can disengage at any point. So what he needed to do was to also overheat his MWD and fly away and get free damage, because every second that I'm flying towards him and he's flying away, he's getting free damage with his missiles that have much stronger range than I do, and even longer range because I'm flying at him and he's flying away. So he could have gotten probably an entire clip of his light missiles into my hull without me even being able to catch up to him. And then, you know, when he's got to reload, he could reload and kill drones. I don't know if that's a great choice, but because I usually run with two flights of mediums, but you know, it's something that he could do to keep reducing the DPS. But really, if he felt like he was losing, he would still be able to keep me, you know, at 20 or 24 kilometers, and if he didn't think that he was going to win, if his tank was starting to fail, he could just leave. He doesn't do that, and he allows me to catch up to him, so I get the easy frag. And really all that fight came down to was closing that gap, closing that range, being able to just get on top of him and scram and web him, so that way there's absolutely no movement. He's not active rep, so he doesn't have an ancillary booster or anything like that, so it's not like he had any help. Once those shield hit points are gone, sure, they passive regen, but it's super slow, so it's not gonna do anything meaningful. And then this last fit was actually super nerve-wracking. I'm in an Algos. I see a Thrasher kind of out and about, and so I figure, well, you know, I'll go to this complex and I'll wait for him, because I'm sure he'll come to me. So I get in there, and he pops in right where I need him to be, right off the beacon. I don't want to be up too close to him because I've got rails fit, and I'm thinking he's autocannon fit, and I'm just kind of biding my time, just going to keep him at range, get ready to run away if I need to. Which he doesn't approach me, and that kind of strikes me as odd, and then I realize, oh, that's why, because he's got artillery cannons fit. And you can see how low my structure dips. It goes all the way down to 4% structure. But because of the long cycle time of those artillery guns, I'm able to get another rep cycle in and just eke it out. So closely, but just eke it out. Anyway, another good weekend of kills, I hope, and or I should say another good weekend of fights. Again, thanks for all your support. I'll keep making them if people keep watching them. So stick around, and we'll see you later.